pair of people earning a ton of money purely by trading off trashing their family and trashing the institution of the monarchy, which afforded them their royal titles, which make them the money.
There is a particular kind of silence that speaks louder than any headline. That is what is happening right now around Meghan Markle. And it is exactly what one man has been predicting for 5 years. A man who was mocked for it, who lost his platform over it, who refused to take it back even when the pressure to do so was enormous. Piers Morgan has been making 7 specific arguments about Meghan Markle since 2021. 7 arguments that were dismissed, ridiculed, and in one case, resulted in a formal broadcasting complaint that ended his tenure at one of Britain's biggest morning television program. Every single one of those arguments is now playing out in real time. This is not about sides. This is not about whether you like Meghan Markle or whether you think Piers Morgan is someone worth listening to. This is about something much more straightforward. When you make a prediction and then reality arrives, you either got it right or you got it wrong. He got it right. Here are the 7 moments that prove it. And stay until the very last one, because that is the argument that cost him everything, and the one the world is only now catching up with. Firstly, welcome to Royal Decode with Emma, where the royalty is always fresh, hot, and served at the perfect temperature. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us get into it. Argument 1. She said 2 opposite things, 3 weeks apart. Here is a simple test. Take 2 statements made by the same person. Place them side by side. Ask whether both can be true at the same time. If they cannot, at least one of them is a performance. Earlier this year, Meghan sat down for a filmed conversation with a close friend. The setting was deliberately intimate, soft light, rocking chairs, the visual language authenticity. In that conversation, she described her life as the most joyful and complete it had ever been. She spoke about her marriage, her children, her home, her purpose. The message was clear. She had arrived somewhere good. 3 weeks later, she posted a quote to her millions of followers about surviving the most painful 7 years of a person's life. Not once, twice in the same day.
Meghan Markle seems to be quite into them. She's taken encouragement from the stars that the 7 hardest years of her life have come to an end.
7 years, counted backwards from this year. That calculation lands precisely on the year she married into the royal family. Piers Morgan noticed immediately. He has spent 5 years pointing to exactly this kind of gap. The space between what Meghan Markle presents to the world and what her own actions quietly reveal.
So, Samara, this explains everything. It's not her behaviour that's caused the problems. It's the alignment of the stars.
Yes, of course. I mean, 7 years of hardship, James, in a California mansion in Montecito. Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, it's just been really tough for her, going from one of the biggest firms, institutions in the world, every single thing at her fingertips, to being whisked away in Tyler Perry's private jet to California. No, I don't buy it for a second.
He has argued consistently that she is not always speaking in the way most people speak, where words and reality are meant to match. He believes she speaks strategically, that every post, every interview, every carefully framed moment is designed to serve a purpose that is not always the purpose being stated out loud. Whether you agree with that or not, the question stands on its own. Deepest joy. Worst 7 years, 3 weeks, 1 person, 1 life. Both of those things cannot be true. And the audience has noticed. Argument 2. She left the crown but kept the brand. In January 2020, Meghan and Harry made a decision that was heard around the world. They stepped away from the royal family. They gave up the duties, the titles in active use, the formal roles that came with membership in that institution.
Back as senior members of the British royal family. In a statement, the two said they've chosen to transition to a, quote, progressive new role within the institution. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex say they will work to become financially independent while continuing to support Queen Elizabeth. They also will balance their time between the United Kingdom and North America.
That was their choice to make, and they made it. What Piers Morgan has been pointing to ever since is what happened after that departure. The aesthetic did not leave with them. People within Meghan's orbit, those posting about her, speaking about her, building content around her, have consistently used the imagery and language of royalty. The word queen, capitalized in reference to her. Visual references to crowns and reigning and sovereign status, a careful, ongoing construction of a monarchical halo around a woman who formally surrendered that connection more than 5 years ago. Meghan herself, on a podcast speaking with young girls, referred to herself as a princess. She is not a princess. She knows she is not a princess. But the commercial value of that identity is real. The audience that buys lifestyle products from a former Duchess is larger and more loyal than the audience that buys them from a California-based celebrity. The brand depends on the association she chose to walk away from. Piers Morgan has made this argument in plain language many times. You are either inside the institution or you are outside it. You can leave and build something genuinely new, or you can stay and serve. What you cannot do, not without eventually losing the audience's trust, is profit from attacking a family while simultaneously wrapping your candles and jam in the imagery of that same family's world. The public is patient, but it is not infinitely patient. And the polling numbers on both sides of the Atlantic now reflect that the patience has worn thin. Argument 3. Your best friend's unboxing became a verdict. There is a version of this story where everything goes perfectly, where the package arrives in beautiful condition, where the world's most recognizable tennis player opens a box of your products on camera for millions of people and every second of it works exactly as planned. That is not what happened. Meghan launched her lifestyle brand, As Ever, with products that included artisan chocolates and a signature candle. The price points were premium. The packaging was considered. The entire exercise was designed to position her as a tastemaker, a woman of genuine refinement who could curate beauty for other women. The promotional plan was straightforward. Send the launch package to Serena Williams. Let the world's most famous and loyal supporter of Meghan Markle open it on camera and share the moment with her audience. When Serena opened the box, the chocolates were broken, visibly, undeniably, on camera broken.
Got this in the mail from my friend Meghan, and her penmanship has always been amazing from like the 100 years I've seemed to have known her. She sent me a beautiful box of chocolates in her brand As Ever. You guys should check it out. I debauched it. She's like so classy, and I'm just like, look at this. This is nuts. Anyway, the chocolate was beautiful and it was delicious. I don't like chocolate, but I've been killing them. So good. Candles, ginger cashmere. I couldn't pronounce the other word. This one is amber, water lily. Another word I can't pronounce, but it looks good. I love candles. Thank you. I love you.
Piers Morgan has built an argument over 5 years that the gap between Meghan Markle's presentations and their execution is not accidental and not occasional. It is structural, that the brand has always been more invested in the story it tells than in the substance that story is supposed to rest on. This was not a critic saying that. This was Meghan's own product in her own packaging, opened by her own most loyal ally in a video that was supposed to be the launch moment. The market does not lie, and that video was a market verdict. Argument 4. The people who left and never came back. Some patterns are loud. This one is quiet, which is part of why it has taken so long for people to pay attention to it. Go back through the record. Before the royal years, there are friends who were close and then were not. During the palace years, staff members who came into roles and left them under circumstances that were described in formal documented reporting as harmful. After the departure from royal life, advisors and allies who were publicly supportive and then went silent. A celebrity circle that was once warm and photographed and present, and that has, with very little explanation, become notably absent. Piers Morgan has been tracking this pattern since before most commentators were willing to acknowledge it existed.
What I would call a ruthless social climate, who just when people are no longer, no longer appropriate parts of her circle, they have to be expunged quickly so she can move on up.
His argument has never been that any single departure proves anything. His argument has been that a pattern sustained across this many years, this many different contexts, and this many different kinds of relationships, personal, professional, institutional, is not a series of bad luck. It is a signature. The question he has returned to repeatedly is this: at what point does the person who is always there when relationships end stop being a bystander and start being a contributing factor? He asked that question 5 years ago. The documentation that has accumulated since then has not weakened the question. It has sharpened it considerably. Argument 5. The legal file that will not close. Every other controversy in this story has had an exit ramp. A bad interview could be followed by a better one. A failed product launch could be reframed as a learning experience. A broken friendship could be allowed to fade quietly. The news cycle would move. The algorithm would bury it, and the operation would find a new angle and a new story to tell. There is no algorithm that buries a federal court case. There is currently active legal proceedings connected to Harry's visa application and what may or may not have been disclosed within it, named parties, a named judge, filed documents that are a matter of public record. Piers Morgan has made a specific point about this that goes beyond the legal details. He has argued for years that one of the defining features of the Sussex operation is its reliance on narrative control, the ability to shape how a story is told, when it is told, and to whom. Legal proceedings remove that control entirely. You cannot issue a statement that redirects a judge. You cannot time a counter-narrative to compete with a court filing date. This case is open. The exposure is documented. And the thing that makes it different from every previous controversy is that it operates entirely outside the couple's ability to manage it.
Harry's legal status in the country is now the subject of increased scrutiny. It began in March 2023 when the Heritage Foundation, a right-wing think tank, filed a Freedom of Information Act request with Homeland Security to gain access to the prince's immigration documents, sparking a 2-year-long legal battle. The request aimed to uncover whether, quote, Prince Harry was properly vetted prior to or during admission into the United States.
Argument 6. The money has a deadline. Piers Morgan has never claimed to have access to the Sussex financial records. What he has done is apply basic logic to publicly observable behavior and ask the question that any reasonable observer should ask. The lifestyle requires significant ongoing expenditure. The security alone runs into millions annually. The content production, the staff, the brand launches, the properties, none of this is inexpensive. And while the deals that were made in the early post-royal years were substantial, the question of what has been earned versus what has been spent has never been satisfactorily answered in public. Multiple sources with knowledge of the financial picture have now reported that the runway for the current operation has a visible endpoint. 5 years by the most specific reporting that has been published. After that threshold, the commercial model needs to have demonstrated that it works, or a significantly different set of decisions will need to be made. You cannot sustain a luxury brand on goodwill alone. You cannot keep a global profile alive without ongoing content that performs. And you cannot generate that content indefinitely while the audience that is supposed to receive it is quietly, politely, but measurably losing interest. The clock did not start this week, but this week, more people than ever are aware that it is running. Argument 7. He said he did not believe her, and he was right. This is the one that matters most, because this is the one that cost him the most. March 2021. Meghan Markle sat across from Oprah Winfrey and gave an interview that dominated global conversation for weeks. Allegations were made about the royal family. Claims were offered about experiences she said she had endured. The world watched, and the world largely responded with sympathy. The morning after that interview aired, Piers Morgan appeared on Good Morning Britain and said something that almost no one else in British media was willing to say. He said he did not find her credible, not in specific disputed details. In the whole, he did not hedge it. He did not frame it as a question. He stated it as his position, and he stood behind it. Within 2 days, he was gone from the program. Tens of thousands of formal complaints were filed with the broadcasting regulator. Meghan Markle was reported to have complained to the broadcaster personally. His professional consequences were immediate and severe, and the consensus response from the media world was that he had gone too far. He did not retract it.
I'm sorry, I don't believe a word she says, Meghan Markle.
Well, that's a
I wouldn't believe it if she read me a weather report. And the fact that she's fired up this onslaught against our royal family, I think is contemptible.
Now look at where things stand. She told the world she was joyful. Then she posted about 7 years of pain. She positioned herself as a devoted private mother while building a global commercial brand around that same private life. She publicly attacked an institution and then used its imagery to sell products. She described experiences of isolation and mistreatment while simultaneously maintaining the highest possible public profile. She has said, across different interviews and platforms and years, things that do not reconcile with each other when placed in the same room. Piers Morgan's argument was never the most sophisticated one ever made. It was actually very simple. He said the story does not hold together. He said the pieces do not add up. He said that when you ask the most basic question, is this person telling a consistent truth? The answer that comes back is no. He lost his career for saying it. He was positioned as a bully, as someone motivated by personal grievance, as a man who simply could not accept being wrong about someone. 5 years later, the conversation has shifted. Not in tabloids, not in gossip, in polling data, in engagement metrics, in the visible retreat of the celebrity world that once surrounded her, in the A-list silence at moments when public support would have meant everything, in the audience that once leaned forward and is now, slowly, quietly without drama, leaning back. Piers Morgan did not need the world to agree with him. He just needed to be right. And by the evidence that has accumulated across these 7 arguments, he is. So here is where all of this leaves us. A woman who described her life as complete and joyful, then described it as the hardest 7 years she had ever survived, in the same month. A brand built on the imagery of an institution she left and publicly criticized. A product launch that became a viral moment for all the wrong reasons. A trail of ended relationships that stretches back further than most people have been willing to look. An open federal legal case with no off switch. A financial model that multiple sources say has a 5-year horizon. And the original claim, the one that ended a career in 2021, quietly becoming the mainstream view. None of this arrived through rumor. Every piece of it is documented, filmed, filed, or stated in Meghan Markle's own words placed next to her other words. The story is not over. The legal case is live. The financial timeline is still open. Decisions can still be made. Different paths are still available. But credibility, once it drains publicly, does not refill quietly. And the thing that Piers Morgan understood 5 years ago, that the audience will eventually do its own arithmetic, has turned out to be the most accurate prediction in this entire story. He paid for saying it first. The rest of us are only now doing the math. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And stay close, because this story is far from finished. Hit the subscribe button right now, like and turn on the notification bell, because the next video in this series goes even deeper, and you do not want to miss it when it drops. Leave a comment below. Tell me whether you think Piers Morgan deserved what happened to him in 2021.